I think people are talking a lot today about what they think is going to happen. Do we know what's going to happen with this bill? Has the president said that there'll be a ceremony of some sort today or a signing?
I think we know by now with President Trump, you really never know what's going to happen.
Right.
Nobody thought that he was not going to sign it last week. But I do believe he will sign the bill. It is a very important piece of legislation that he himself had advocated for. Right. And it had broad bipartisan support. Yeah. I mean, this passed overwhelmingly and really addresses issues of supply, of access to capital, of ensuring that banks don't, outbid families to an extent where they are taking too much of housing supply off the market. I think it's a good piece of legislation that will deal with the affordability. It was one of his top priorities in terms of addressing some of these affordability issues prior to the election. And I think it's a real win. It's an easy layup for him. So just sign it and let's try to do what we can to increase some housing supply in this country.
This is what you want to be talking about when you go home for your 4th of July weekend, right? When you're talking to people and marching in parades. You've got more where this came from, out with legislation. I see here to cut capital gains taxes for seniors selling their homes. Is this something that's good for seniors to keep a couple dollars in their pocket, or might it actually inspire some seniors to move and loosen up the housing market?
Yeah, look,
I guess both.
I think it's a win-win here. I mean, let's be realistic about the capital gains tax exemption has not increased from the current $250,000 and $500,000 for married couple since Bill Clinton was in office. So it's been quite a while. It needs to be modernized. It was never indexed. My legislation would increase that to $1 million. It would benefit senior citizens who have lived in their homes for 25 years or more. And the idea here is that many seniors are putting their homes in a trust. And then when they pass away, their children get it. There's no tax dollars that involved either at that point. So it's not really a big cost, I don't think, to the government. We're asking the CBO for a score right now. Okay. But what I will say is that I do think it is exactly what you said. It will loosen up the housing market, allow seniors who want to downsize but have been holding on to their home because they don't want to see their nest egg, all their savings and equity in their home being taxed at capital gains rates. And it'll open up that housing for younger families to be able to move in, create some economic activity in our community. I think it's a good thing. We also have legislation, by the way, in a bipartisan manner in the House Ways and Means Committee to increase the capital gains tax exemption for home sales from its current $250,000 and $500,000, doubling it. So I think that we should be doing it for everyone. Yeah. But if we could at least get it done for seniors now, that would be fantastic. I could see something like this going in a reconciliation package this year.
Is that the vehicle? I was going to follow up with that. You might be able to find a home for this bill.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think most tax policy would go through a reconciliation. We had so much success with the working families tax cut, from the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, the overtime provisions, the child tax credit, the Trump savings credit. So, I mean, a lot has been used already in the first bill. So we Ways and Means are looking at what our options are to build on that success and give more tax breaks for senior citizens, for our working families, for working Americans. And that's the idea, to keep more money in the hands of working Americans as opposed to Uncle Sam.
You were a big proponent of the Trump accounts. Those are taking effect now. Apparently, they're going to ring the stock exchange. They're going to ring the opening bell in the Oval Office. Did you see this?
I did not see that.
They need to put like a button next to the Diet Coke button. I don't know how they do that.
Well, look, millions of children are already enrolled in those baby accounts, and so it's not just for newborns. I mean, the idea was originally created for newborn babies, $1,000, right? And you get a start there, and families can invest more, so it compounds and obviously grows by the time they're 18. But now other private sector companies have done a great job being corporate citizens, saying that they'll put in some money too. So older kids, not just newborn babies from 2025, can benefit from those savings accounts. So it is a good thing. I think in general we need to teach more fiscal responsibility, teach our young people about financial literacy, and it's one of the things I just talked about with JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon when he came to visit us on the Hill. Like, how do we bring more of this stuff into the classroom and teach young people? And I think these baby savings accounts, I think, is a start.
How about that? Congresswoman, you have an important briefing, I understand, at 4 o'clock today. It's an all-members briefing from Steve Witkoff on the Iran peace talks. I don't know if you have specific questions for him, but that seems like an important moment when they decide to brief the entire membership as opposed to certain committee chairs. What does that tell you about where we are in the game here? There'll be another round of peace talks tomorrow.
Well, look, I imagine that the briefing is going to be high level, but not classified, obviously.
Sure.
So it's going to be limitations on what we'll be learning during this call. But I think it's important for us to all get an update, and certainly members of Congress, myself included, want to know that if we're loosening any sanctions on Iran or that we're unfreezing any of their assets, that money is not going to go and fund these terrorist organizations like Hamas, like Hezbollah, and like others that have been so destructive and have murdered so many people. We also, want to make sure that that they do not have a nuclear weapon, that they're going to adhere to these inspections to ensure that they're not enriching nuclear weapon grade uranium.
Right.
So there's a lot of questions on how we're going to be able to trust Iran, because obviously they're not trustworthy. I think one of the other issues that I want to bring up on this call, it's related to the Middle East, is Turkey getting F-35 jets. I'm 100% opposed to this.
Really?
Turkey is a NATO ally, but under Erdogan, they've not sanctioned Russia. They have harbored Hamas. They have interrupted counter ISIS operations. And I think that, they've also called for the complete destruction of Israel. So, and not only that, they are illegally running flights of military jets above Greek islands and intimidating their neighbor, who is also a NATO ally. Yeah. And they've been illegally occupying Cyprus for decades now. And so I think that that's where I have already said that to the White House that I'm very opposed to this. I think it would be somebody who has aligned themselves with Russia and Iran should not have access to our premier jets and that type of intelligence.
God knows they've been asking for them. The Secretary of State's going to be in this briefing and be on this call, Marco Rubio. I don't know if he's taken the reins from J.D. Vance, but is that something you plan to talk to him about? Is that for a different forum?
Well, look, I think he just wants to overall give us an update, and the members do have a lot of questions. We have not been briefed since these negotiations have taken place, and I think that it's appropriate for them to do so. I would like for them to come in and eventually give us a classified briefing, because that's when you really find out the stuff that you can't read on Twitter, and that's obviously what members of Congress want access to. But I think Marco is he's a good friend. He's a very, very smart individual. I believe he's going to go down as being the best Secretary of State that we've ever had. And I'm very proud of the work that he's doing. And I think he has the right job at the right time.
Well, we'd love to hear more to the extent that we can about all of this. You're marching in parades, Staten Island, 4th of July?
We have an old one on 4th of July.
You sure do.
It's a great parade. It's always very hot. So
it's going to be 100 degrees, Congresswoman.
Of course it is. Of course.
Bail me out. We'll be sweating to the oldies here in Washington.